The AI is an evolving technology that it's becoming more and more popular. And as I go out into the world and talk to people, mingle with people, and now running into a situation where I'm seeing some pros and cons of using AI. And some people use it as a end all be all. Some people use it as like it's the answer to everything, and even some of that is making people frightful about maybe their jobs in the future, and I feel like a lot of that is it's a fright tactic. And so today I want to talk about my perspective on AI and how I use it. What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Moving with Life. Andy here, and as I said in the little intro, AI is evolving. It's helped me definitely hopefully adapt and figure out how it best suits me. And today I'm not going to talk to you from like this tech expert, point of view, but more of just a simple matter of fact foundational layer that I find myself using it every day because there are things that it's good for. And there's things that I've heard over conversation where, again, maybe using it as a solution for every single thing, and that's just not the way it works. And so as we get into the bulk of this information, AI can sharpen your thinking. That's one way to look at it. It can help make, let's just say for the sake of example, it'll help make your writing or what you want to say better than what you might think it is. And maybe you're not satisfied with what you have so far, but again, it can help you make your writing or your idea better. My biggest back and forth is, let's just say, for example, I use it to help me just make the outlines. I still tell it everything that I want to do, and that's kind of the dichotomy, is that I have to be more specific with my prompts. And even, again, I've been using it for probably close to a year. I'm not sure quite how long I've been using it, especially, I'd say for sure in the last 6 months, I'd say I use it pretty much every day. And the point of that is just the matter of AI has the way it's developed and the way it's being taught to think. The only way it works better is if you give it helps me expedite that so that when I come to the podcast, I'm not feeling like mentally overwhelmed or mentally burned out. Because there have been definitely times in the past where I prep or I'm trying to do everything myself. And by the time I come to the episode, I'm tired. I don't even want to set up the light. I don't want to set up the camera, make sure the microphone's good to go. And I move on. And I don't record the podcast and so on and so forth. I was trying to get away from that. Now, one thing that's helped me personally is when I'm trying to brainstorm, it's like, oh, I'm feeling like this. What is the theme here? Where am I headed? And even then, what I personally like also is, and again, there's a balance here. As I ask it to help me evolve the podcast outlines themselves, if there's something that I don't like, I don't take it verbatim saying, like, there's not complete trust in that every single piece that's going to come out given back to me is going to be what I want. And so it's like, oh, I don't like this, I want it like this, or hey, that perspective is not actually what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this perspective. And so the first part of using AI as a tool is just a matter of fact that it's a tool and it can help make things better, but it's not the answer to every single thing. Because even for the sake of example, also is even Joe Rogan. They're sponsored by Perplexity, and he'll ask his producer to type in something, and it's a very quick, Google search engine type thing. But he's in real time talking with this person, interview or whatever, and so that's one way to use it. But he's using it as a way to keep the flow of his podcast. Most people want to replace their thoughts and just say, hey, AI, you make this for me. I don't want to have to think. And my argument is that I want to encourage you to not do that. It can help you evolve your thinking and maybe think about something you didn't have in mind the first time, and it gave this different perspective where it's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Add that to what I want to say, or actually give me more options that look like that. Point number two is that AI can save you time, but it might make you lazy. It kind of ties in with point number one, but you might give it a prompt, or let's just say you have some deadline, even for work. You have a deadline, and you just ask it to build you something, and you don't review it. You don't verify that it's actually what the end part of the end goal, end product that you want to give. Again, whether it's like a work presentation, school homework. I'm certain so many people use this for, again, school and homework and whatnot, and I use it too. But I've had to, for sure, 100% get away from, especially because for some of these deeper subjects where it actually is not giving me what I need it to give me, what I want it to give me. And so I have to then figure it out, and what I haven't let it take away from me is my ability to write. I might get an outline, but it's me talking. It's me typing. It's like, okay, what am I going to say here? I know what I'm trying to say, but because I do believe it affects the ability to have a conversation. And we're seeing that. We're seeing where, teachers and students are having there's this difficulty of communication. And I think some of the frustration is probably behind because of the use of AI in certain ways and becoming so dependent on it. I wonder how I wonder how things will change over time as I meet more people and as more people use AI. I do wonder how it'll change, because again, it's good for brainstorming, it's good for getting things kicked off, but at the end of the day, at least from my experience, is that it doesn't always, if you're especially if your prompt's not super detailed, it's not going to be able to create what you think you want to be created. And this one, I mean, it's kind of doubles as the second one, where saving time, and kind of what I said, where you can brainstorm with AI, whether you and again, there's this whole other element of agents, AI agents. I don't know how that functions yet. I haven't learned it yet. I'm just literally talking about like ChatGPT and Perplexity, those types of I believe they're called LLMs, large language models, and because that's kind of been my introduction. Now there have been some times where I will ask it to create a template for me for finances, or personal finances, so on and so forth. But then even then, I find myself where it only got me to a certain point, and it's like, well, I don't like that it can't get to the next level, or the next level that I want to get to. So then I end up having to figure that part out anyways. Again, that's been my experience. Again, I think my personal opinion is that it's because my prompts aren't good enough yet. Third point for today, and the final macro point, is, again, AI can point you in the right direction, but it should never be your final execution point. And you can get caught in that too, because then you can go down rabbit holes and ask it to produce all these things, and then you forgot what even, maybe there's some things you wanted to keep from previous, and now you've gone down this rabbit hole, so you have to scroll up to find what that is. And that's where I've found myself, where running certain threads or keeping certain threads hasn't always been beneficial. And so one thing that I've changed to this, as far as pointing in the right direction using AI, is having certain specific instructions. And do I have a phone? I don't have my phone with me, but so in the settings there's an instructions part, and I want it to be as unbiased as possible, because I want to test my theories or my thoughts, to see if they're viable. And I find, as I've changed from ChatGPT to Perplexity, I find that it's still adjusting, and also because I had used ChatGPT, if I'm being honest, for so long, that now that I've switched over, the data's kind of started from new, and it's not the biggest deal, because the evolution is going to happen anyways. But there's even been situations, and I guess one of the points to tack on, going back to brainstorming and not letting AI, however you end up using it, at least for now, if you're new to it, because I know I still consider myself new to it, is that it can give you legitimately wrong information. There have been times where, if I see a problem, I will copy and paste it to see just to see what it tells me. And even then, one of my first prompts, this was again over a year ago, was I asked it to give me the top 10 country songs of that Friday, because music comes out on Friday, so on and so forth. So I'm like, hey, what do the charts say? And it blatantly lied to me. It was giving like false artists, false songs, and I went down like this little rabbit hole with it, going back and forth, and it couldn't. And again, this is where I started having to realize that depending on how descriptive your prompts are is going to then result in how good your answer might be. And so it was funny, and that actually turned me away from wanting to use AI for a good minute. Then I tried it again, and I think I've gone back and forth at least 2 or 3 times because of those situations, those moments. But now, a year later, it's more of me finding out how it benefits me more than me, again, using it as a Google search engine where it's just what the internet has become, and what the internet is, where you go and search for information. I think the umbrella point of today is just that AI has a lot of pros and a lot of cons. And for me, it's been being more specific with my prompts. Verifying, because even sometimes I put even sources, it'll give me, I'll ask it for sources, and I will verify those sources, and the answer I'm looking for is actually not in there. It's like it's saying, oh, you can use this contextually to verify what your answer is, and I'm like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. I genuinely, and again, this might be some bit of old school part of me where, well, I don't want to do that. I want my answer, my information to come from the source itself. And there's been moments where it can't grasp that, and most likely, for the sake of the argument, I will blame that it's my disability to give it the right prompt and then being able to reciprocate the answer that I want or am looking for. Nonetheless, if you find yourself starting to use AI more often, if you only use it as a Google search engine, or if you use it to literally write a presentation or something for you, I want to encourage you, as I said at the beginning of the show, or this episode, where be specific, but also think of AI as a tool. As I've gone through my conversation, I call them conversations. I do believe certain aspects and certain things we're still farther away than we think, as far as when it comes to a job. But the use of it is going to depend on how we use it. Again, there's a lot of negativity say out there, a lot of, as far as, oh, it's going to take this many jobs away from people. And so because of that, I wanted to come out here today because I literally, and this is another example that I'll have to talk about another day when I bring up AI again down the road. But it's just the matter of fact that I think it should be used. It helps expedite a lot of things. As we close out today, if this episode made you think, I'd like to hear why. I'd like to hear what you use AI for. And if you don't use AI because you think that you can never learn it, you should probably just look into it. Have a very open and curious mind when it comes to it. I do wonder where we're going, genuinely, because I feel like people say and people have their ideas about where AI is going, and I can't give a definite answer about where we're going. I just know that I use it as a tool. And when I talk to other people about AI, and I see how other people incorporate AI into their work, into their schooling, I use it to then help me evolve the way I use it. So if you made it this far, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you're on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, leave a rating. I greatly appreciate it. Again, as I get these notifications, I do read them. I do go through them. And so hopefully this might stir the curiosity a little bit, or if not, maybe it'll give a different angle and a positive way to use it in your life. So until next time, keep moving with life.